Hi, welcome to another episode of Practical Nutrition. I'm Cassie.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Sarah.
And today we are talking about alkaline water. So this is something that's been in the news a little bit, and so and we do see this a lot in the media. So we're going to chat about it and give you guys some information so you can make informed choices. So first of all, what is alkaline water? It refers to whether an item is an acid or a base. So we're going back to chemistry class here, if you guys remember, and that depends on the pH of the water. A pH of 7 is neutral. Plain pure water has a pH of 7, so it's neutral naturally. Obviously, our water that we drink out of the tap has maybe some other things added, and water you get in the environment has possibly minerals in it, so not all water has a pH of 7, but pure water does. Anything over 7, so higher than 7, whether it's 8, 9, 10, is alkaline, and anything lower is acidic. And so you can think about that when you're looking at it. If it says pH of 10, it's alkaline water. So anything over 7 would be considered that. It can be natural or synthetic. So alkaline water, like I mentioned, can be found in nature. So say there's a stream that has a lot of calcium and magnesium deposits in the rocks. The water that you would get from that, or if it was sourced from that, would be naturally alkaline. So they didn't have to do anything to the water to make it that way. Of course, just because that's how our culture is, you also can make alkaline water. So you can take tap water, which may be neutral, may be acidic, and you can make it alkaline using a process called electrolysis. And you're separating the water out into the positive and negative parts of the water molecule, trying to not get too technical here. And then they have it separated by anodes, and the alkaline water goes out one side and the acidic water goes out the other side, and they sell the alkaline part. They also have those systems you can have in your home, and so you can make it even in your own home if you want to. So also companies can add things in to alter the pH. So if you added minerals in, for example, you can even at home make your own alkaline water by adding lemon juice to it, or sometimes people would add baking soda to it, which sounds pretty gross to me. But that's a way that people can do it. So there are lots of ways that you can make alkaline water. So, but remember, alkaline has a higher pH than just pure water. And so we'll talk now. Alex will talk about why is alkaline water even a thing?
Why is it a thing? Honestly, I feel like it just popped up, and it's all because of this guy named Robert Young, and he wrote a book called The pH Miracle. I just Googled The pH Miracle because I've never read it, and the first thing it said was, forget counting calories, fat, grams, or cholesterol. Forget blood pressure, blood sugar, and hormone levels. I'm using the voice. Like you put in an infomercial. The single most important health measurement is the pH level in the blood. That is the single most important.
Forget our entire education.
Yeah, forget cholesterol 400, doesn't matter. Our pH is most important. We claim that people could prevent and reverse disease if they ate alkaline foods and drank alkaline water. Well, if it was that easy, we'd all be doing it, right? He recommended alkaline water of at least a pH of 9.5 to see benefits. This part makes me laugh. I was reading this. In 2017, he was arrested for practicing medicine without a license. His doctor, before his name, was actually an online PhD. So he was practicing as a doctor without really being one. Due to his very expensive pH Miracle retreats, this is why he was arrested, where he claimed he could cure their cancer and other ailments with his pH diet and treatments. So he was making lots of bank, telling people he could cure their cancers with his alkaline, magnificent diet.
So frustrating.
Isn't that crazy?
He has been sued. He has been arrested. But again, a lot of people see this in the media today, and this is where it was founded, from this guy.
Yeah, from this guy. Isn't that crazy? So look at where your sources are coming from. The alkaline diet, alkaline foods, and alkaline water are still being touted today, and we as Cassie said, hear about it all the time, as being healthy and necessary for the prevention and treatment of many diseases because of the diet's supposed impact on blood pH. We're going to dive into that a little bit more. The alkaline diet promotes more fruits and veggies, which is a good thing, and less protein and dairy and processed foods. So theoretically, that helps the body be less acidic. And it's claimed that people feel better on this alkaline diet for being alkaline, but a lot of it's probably because you're just getting more fruits and veggies and less processed items. However, there's no research that supports any of these claims.
Yes.
None of it.
So, which we probably could just end our podcast there today, but of course we're going to give you more information. And so Sarah is going to talk about your body's pH and what that really means and explain that a little more.
Yeah, and so your body is an extremely efficient and smart being, and so obviously the pH of your blood and of your body needs to be tightly controlled. Otherwise, you can have extremely bad adverse effects if you were to get out of that range. And the range is 7.35 to 7.45. And this may be surprising to me. It's not. Probably to you guys, it's not too. What you eat or drink does not have an effect on the blood pH of your body. If it did, you would be in trouble. It's something that we don't want to happen. And alkaline water is not likely to have a significant effect on the pH of your stomach unless extremely large amounts are ingested. Our stomach is very acidic. It has a low pH, and it's necessary to break down and absorb food and nutrients, and it can kill harmful pathogens, all of which are extremely important for overall health. You need your stomach to be an acidic environment. You don't want to try and change that, otherwise you wouldn't be able to digest things and absorb things well. And so what you eat and drink has been shown to impact your urine pH, but urine pH is not shown to be a significant factor for overall health or disease development. So that's different than your blood pH, which is what he's claiming you should be changing, the environment that you should be changing based on alkaline foods and alkaline drinks. So let's talk about how alkaline water is treated in the body. So as I mentioned, our stomachs are very acidic, and when you drink alkaline water, your stomach will neutralize it before it is absorbed. That is the job of your stomach. And alkaline water has no effect on your blood pH because it is not absorbed until it's neutralized. So if any food could affect your blood pH that well, it would be a dangerous thing. Like I already said, we don't want that to happen. Our body is tightly controlled, and while eating unhealthy foods can have a negative impact on your health, it's not due to the pH of your blood or your body. It's for many different things. And as Alex said, you're increasing fruits and vegetables and you're decreasing processed foods on this alkaline diet. So that's something that we preach as dietitians, but we don't limit it to a certain set of foods based on their pH.
Yes. So we want you to be informed about why maybe people do feel better on this. It's not because of what they're claiming. So, and I think a lot of times people don't give our bodies credit because our bodies are really good at doing what they do. And it's really good about keeping everything where it needs to be. And so, again, just because you're drinking something or eating something doesn't mean that it's going to have the effect you may think it does. So good. That was good information. So debunked about the blood pH. Yes. So let's talk a little bit more about what alkaline water claims to help prevent. I mean, the list could go on and on and on, but bone loss, these are some of the big ones, cancer, and I say prevent and treat. So cancer, and that's a big one, inflammation, so they tout it as a natural antioxidant that you could take, heart disease, acid reflux, and dehydration. So we're going to look at some of these specifically about what the research says. And I will say that it was difficult to find any valid research on alkaline water in general, but we did find some, and we did find some information. So Alex is going to talk about bone health and cancer.
I just think that what you just said, like with heart disease, no, you don't need to worry about your diet. Just drink alkaline water. That's all. That's it. Eat alkaline foods, drink alkaline water. It's just too funny. So, yes, I'm loving this. What does research say? So, in reference to bone health, in a 2011 systematic review and meta-analysis of 55 studies, there was a causal association between dietary acid load and osteoporotic bone disease is not supported by evidence, and there is no evidence that an alkaline diet is protective of bone health. So that's number one. Second, cancer. In a 2016 systematic review looking at the association between dietary acid load, alkaline water, and cancer, out of over 8,000 citations found, there was only one study that qualified as good enough to be in the review out of 8,000. And that study showed no association between dietary acid load and cancer. There we go. There's another. 0 randomized controlled trials were found, which is, again, the gold standard for studies. This study concluded that despite the promotion of the alkaline diet and alkaline water by the media and salespeople, there's almost no actual research to either support or disprove these ideas. The systematic review of the literature revealed a lack of evidence for or against diet, acid load, and or alkaline water for the initiation or treatment of cancer. Promotion of alkaline diet and alkaline water to the public for cancer prevention or treatment is not justified.
And that's just a nice way of saying that it's just stupid. In all honesty, just don't do it.
And and that is really important because over all the years, and it's not that alkaline water is new or alkaline diets are new. These have been actually talked about for a long time, and there has been plenty of time to research this. And so, and the reality is that it's just not founded, and there is no, so often with things we can find a few okay research studies that maybe hint that maybe for some people this might be a good idea, and with this one, no, there's really just nothing. So Sarah is going to talk about heart disease and acid reflux and hydration and the research we found on that.
Yes. I really don't have much else to say besides there's probably no link, right? So heart disease, no research was found to link heart disease and alkaline water. So we'll move right along and go to acid reflux. And the only study that looks at this was done in a lab and shows that alkaline water creating an environment of a pH of 8.8 in a test tube can inhibit pepsin, which is an enzyme in your stomach. However, this does not mean that drinking alkaline water or eating alkaline foods can or will significantly change the stomach pH. And the pH of your stomach typically runs between 1.5 to 3.5. And actually inhibiting pepsin would negatively affect the digestion of protein. That's what that enzyme does in your stomach, and that could cause other health issues. So that's not a positive thing, inhibiting pepsin. And the last thing is hydration. And so the study often quoted that Bax's claim was funded by an alkaline water company and had sketchy research tactics. And that's something that, like, in school we were trained, like I had research classes that helped us evaluate certain things that make research articles credible, and it's important to look at who's funding it and the methods that they're using to create the outcomes, because people do that to sell products. It's sad, but they do. And they actually showed no difference in normal hydration markers with alkaline water. However, they mentioned improvement in blood viscosity as a reason why their product was better at hydrating you than water. So
very interesting. And someone, you have someone who doesn't have the education to look at research. They may say, oh, this improved blood viscosity. That sounds good. That sounds like it's important.
Yeah.
Well, it also says in the sentence on the actual research study right before that none of the other measures of hydration, which you look at urine specific gravity and some of the things that we know are measures, body weight, those kinds of things, none of those were affected. So very interesting and very tricky. So as consumers, we understand why this is so confusing, because there are all these claims. They don't have research, but again, as Alex said, 8,000 citations are out there on the supposed research, and so you just have to really be an educated consumer. So I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of alkaline water right now. So because we always like to look at both sides of everything. So the pros, it does hydrate you. So that's a good thing. And so natural mineral water, which is alkaline, more alkaline than tap water, is safe to drink, and so that's something that you're not going to die if you drink alkaline water typically. But again, we'll talk a little bit more about the risks in a second. But just normal, they don't mess with it. It's something that they it's a spring or a stream or however they get it. As long as it goes through the safety ways to make sure that it doesn't have any other things in it, it's fine. Lemon water is actually alkaline, which may not make sense to you, but it is. And that's tasty and gives you vitamin C. So if you like to squeeze a lemon in your water, that's awesome. It's not going to prevent cancer, but it will help you get some vitamin C, which is an antioxidant. And lastly, you might feel fancy drinking it. So
right.
that's my last pro of alkaline water. If you want to feel fancy today, then you can go buy an alkaline water and post about it, and
I love that.
while you're by the beach or something. So you'll see a lot of celebrities with their alkaline water. So so that's another pro if that's important. Sometimes you need to pick me up. So. Cons of alkaline water. Obviously, there are no long-term studies on the safety or efficacy of alkaline water, and it's extremely expensive. $30 to $35 on Amazon for 24 waters. So that's a lot, and so and again, totally unnecessary. Also, possible contamination of the water if it's not naturally alkaline. Anything that we eat or drink, there's a possibility of contamination. But whenever you process something, you have all these steps, and it's not something that's regulated. That could be a higher risk. And there is no regulation, and there have been very serious health consequences from alkaline water. And it may not be from the actual alkalinity of the water or the pH of the water. It might be from something else that's in it that was added through processing or contaminated the water in the process. So a good example of how the FDA works, I think this is a great example. This is what we talk about all the time, but in how supplements work or things that aren't regulated. This is a typical way that it would work. And the FDA is underfunded, doesn't have enough resources to look at everything. But if you take, say, a medication, they have to go through all this testing that it is safe before it's released out for the public. Supplements and things like this, they don't have to do that. It's basically, innocent until proven guilty. They can put it out for millions and billions or however many people, and unless somebody has serious health consequences or dies, they can sell it and they can say whatever they want about it. And so, for the most part. So in early March of this year, in 2021, a common alkaline water brand called Real Water was reported to the FDA as a common link between acute non-viral hepatitis in 5 children and infants, which to me is pretty scary. I know that's not that many people, but several of these were hospitalized, and they found that they all drank this Real Water. And that was in November of 2020. And so that was, again, it took from November of 2020 to March before it was reported and investigated to the FDA, which is a long time, and a lot of people drinking this water that might have had some issues. So after an investigation in which the company did not cooperate with, this is in the FDA report, so that they were not giving them their records, they were not allowing them to inspect their facility, so they had a hard time investigating, and had 10 more days of sales during this whole process. Then the company finally recalled their products. So again, this is way longer than you would think if they knew there were people that were hospitalized, especially children. So 2 weeks after the initial report, the FDA reported that Real Water was still being sold across the country. And a full month after the investigation and weeks after the recall, Real Water was still being offered online. So that is crazy. And since then, they had that first incident with the 5 kids. They've had 11 more people that have become sick, and 1 has died, a 60-year-old female. And so again, this all happened because this process is so long and so backwards, and so you just have to be careful what you're taking in. And yesterday, and actually on June 1st, the company finally ceased operation. Yesterday, I looked online to see if I could find the product and purchase it, and I found a website where I could purchase it yesterday.
Ugh. Did you do it?
No. So, which is crazy. It's July.
That is crazy.
That was July 21st, and so you see that just because you can get something on the internet, and it said how wonderful it was, and how it was crazy. So. Their website is down, their company has ceased, but again, you can still get the product out there. And we look at this stuff, but you may never have even heard this. And so it's something that you need to be aware of. That was our little scare tactic, I guess. But mainly, that, and we'll, that's something we'll talk about in our conclusions. But our recommendations, we'll start with Alex.
Okay. Your body needs water to function well. So that just means staying hydrated. Again, you want to drink around half your body weight in ounces daily of water. And just know that if you're going to pick an alkaline water, that, like Cassie just mentioned, there is that chance of it being contaminated. So we just recommend just drinking plain old water. Drink water that you like and what you will drink consistently. So whether it's putting a little bit of lemon in your water to make it alkaline, and staying hydrated that way. I have to use a water bottle with a straw because I, for some reason, don't want to unscrew the cap. So just whatever you need to do to stay hydrated and drink lots of water, do what works best for you. There is no shown benefit to drinking alkaline water at the current time. Use your money elsewhere. Go buy a new pair of shoes and then hydrate drinking normal water. Don't waste your money on alkaline water. Don't do it.
All right, and Sarah, a couple more of our recommendations.
Yeah, so if you like natural mineral water, it is healthy to drink. It's not going to harm you unless you obviously dig into the real water like we did, and that's not something that y'all would know. That's something that we look into because we want to make sure that people that we're seeing are being safe, and that you're an informed consumer. And then additionally, just don't believe everything that you read, and that's across the board, more so than just this alkaline stuff. And just remember, your body is tightly controlled, and while eating unhealthy foods can definitely have a negative impact on your health, it's not due to the impact of the foods on the pH of your blood or body. It is much more than that.
Yes, if only it was that simple.
Right?
Yes. So, in summary, avoid buying alkaline waters due to high risk and no benefit, and especially if they are engineered alkaline waters like the real water was. This wasn't a natural alkaline water, and so and the FDA has not released what was in the product specifically that caused the liver issues, but it was probably a contamination not from the alkaline water itself. But some of these alkaline waters and the ionizers can actually create a pH of 12 or really high, and so we don't really know what effect that has on our body. What we do know is that it's not necessary to stay healthy or keep your pH at a healthy place because our bodies do that really, really well. And so, in a few years we might have more research, but that's what we know now. And so, don't do it. Don't buy the alkaline water. Don't buy into the hype. And when you see someone that says that they're eating alkaline foods or those foods aren't good for your pH, now you know, and you can argue with them. And because you know the science behind it. And the science is what we always try to go back to. So, okay, thank you. Hope this was helpful. We're happy to look at other things. And again, sometimes we're surprised by information that we find too. We always keep an open mind, but we look at the science, we look at what we know. And again, we don't sell supplements, so we're not trying to sell these things. Just remember, a lot of people are coming from that side, trying to sell you something and trick you into thinking stuff. But you're smarter than that.
Yeah, you
are. All right, thank you.